starting at just $24.99. Shop us now at shophottubs.com.
One of the highlights of the summer, of course, is taking in a Chattanooga Lookouts game. And around here, one of the fan favorites is every year when the Epilepsy Foundation has their Strikeout Epilepsy game. Devin Smith is here with the Epilepsy Foundation to get us excited for this year's game happening, what, June 12th?
It's June 12th, Wednesday. Gates open at 6 o'clock and the game begins at 7:15. But before that, we're going to be walking the field, talking about epilepsy, doing some educational bits and everything. So it'll be super fun. It's for food, fun, baseball for our clients.
Right.
So
and then you always have a giveaway because you want so much to protect and prevent traumatic brain injury.
Yes.
So you're giving away bike helmets again this year?
Yes, we're doing 200 bike helmets for children. The first 200 that show up, first come, first serve. But it's one of the only ways to prevent epilepsy, and 1 in 50 people who have a traumatic brain injury will have epilepsy. So that's one of our initiatives that we take for our younger group and hopefully one day our adult group as well.
Okay, so can we dig into that a little bit? Because I've talked to y'all over the years, but I've never really heard it explained quite that way. So does that mean that if you have epilepsy, is it likely that you had a traumatic brain injury at some point, or do the two not always go hand in hand?
They don't always go hand in hand. Just because someone has a traumatic brain injury doesn't necessarily mean they'll have epilepsy or a seizure at some point, but is more likely than if you didn't. So a lot of people don't know why they have epilepsy, so it's 30% actually. It can either be generalized, focal, or unknown, which is it's unknown most of the time.
Unknown most of the time.
Yes.
So when you talk about like the recognition of the walk around the field that you'll have, when you are in the stands at that game on June 12th and you're watching them go through that walk, think to yourself, not just, wow, how much courage it takes to get out there and be supportive on that field, but when the game is over, every day can present its own challenge because every day is a new day.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's one of the things that we do is try to get them out in the community and just like show people that epilepsy is super common and it's in our community and they're part of our community and we want to include them in everything that we do. And so, yes.
It is super common.
Yes.
It used to be something, I mean, when I was younger, it was something that you just didn't really talk about or you kind of hushed. And now we know that that doesn't help anybody.
Right.
To not be open and talk about it. Because you also, within the epilepsy community, I'm guessing, really thrive by sharing stories.
Yes, yes, we do. And a lot of the initiatives that we do really bring out those stories. And I always tell people, they're like, oh, you might hear the same story over and over. And I'm like, no, everyone's actually super different. Everyone's unique and their story is completely set apart from anyone else's. And you wouldn't think that, but it's always different. And but we love hearing each other's stories and sharing them with other people.
So, okay, let's go back to the fact that you are the Epilepsy Foundation of Southeast Tennessee.
Yes.
So does that mean that you are truly a standalone foundation? All of your resources come from locally driven fundraisers?
Mostly local, sometimes on a state level. We have other branches in Tennessee as well, but we are our own private nonprofit, so we get a lot of our support through the Chattanooga community.
Is part of what you then do with your outreach as those monies come in is to help people like with medication costs, transportation costs, because it is, like you said, life-changing.
Yes, so we have 3 financial assistance programs that we have in place. One is a neurology assistance program that helps people get a diagnosis. That way they don't have to wait if they're coming out of town and they need to establish a doctor, so for things like that, testing. And we have prescription assistance to help with the cost of all year long for most people is what it covers. So, and then we also have transportation assistance because once you get a diagnosis, most people aren't able to drive for at least, you know, if they're 2 years seizure free in Tennessee, they're not able to drive. So we help out with that and break some barriers that a diagnosis can cause.
So the game is at 7 o'clock on June 12th?
7:15 is when it starts, but if you want to get there early to see all the fun stuff happening, get there a little early.
You should definitely get there early. Plus those bike helmets for the kids are first come, first serve. So they've got 200 of them. Maybe you'll be lucky enough to be one of them. And if you are looking for some resources, maybe to help you or someone you know, don't hesitate to get in touch with them at the Epilepsy Foundation. Their information is there on your screen. It's epilepsy-setn.org. Just go, have a great time, root for the home team, enjoy the 7th inning stretch, and the Lookouts are going to win.
Local 3 is looking for a cutting-edge commercial producer who excels at writing, planning, shooting, and editing commercials. If you're passionate about helping Local 3 clients succeed, send your resume and work to Callie Starnes at cstarnes@local3news.com.
Relax.